Alright, do another review. This is the Canon macro 100mm f2.8 with IS. Here it is on the Canon 80D, so you can kind of see what the size is. This is a crop sensor camera. It came out recently. It has IS here, you can see on the side, and it also has a limiter as far as focus is concerned. And comes with this nifty hood that sticks out. If you're looking around to get a macro lens and you hadn't got one before, I have had several. I've had Tamron, the normal Canon one, I've had the Canon one, I've had some film ones, and every single one of them has been sharp. So if you're looking to get into macro photography and you're looking for a sharp lens, basically any macro lens is going to be sharp. It doesn't matter which one you get. So since they're all kind of super sharp, it was hard for me to say that this is sharper than the rest of them, because they're all really sharp. So this is a sharp lens, just like the rest of them. The one thing that separates this from the other ones is it's extremely fast to focus. Some of the other ones, like the Tamron 90mm, are just bzz, bzz, autofocus at least. And then it also has image stabilization when some of those other lenses don't have it. Another thing, some of the other ones, they when you're doing the focus, it like the lens extends out like super far out there, and this one doesn't. So it's kind of nice to have. Like I said, it came with that nifty hood. So this is a lens that I actually normally don't do this, but I did this with this lens because I felt pretty good about it. I took it out in the yard just kind of for fun, and shot handheld. Normally you wouldn't shoot handheld with a macro lens, but just for fun I went out there and shot some bees and stuff like that, and actually performed pretty good just doing handheld stuff. So as far as image stabilization on a macro lens, which is kind of weird, because if you think about it, a macro lens, you're going to be like way super close to the subject. So when you're way super close to the subject, the depth of field is going to be super shallow. So you have this image stabilization, so you could go down with this lower shutter speed. But the only problem is, if you're doing handheld, it's you're gonna you're handheld, but it's very shallow depth of field. So your body might move slightly back or forward, and it's easy to lose that focus or whatever. So the image stabilization on a macro lens, I mean, it works, but it just kind of, I don't know, something about it to me. So if your images aren't sharp, you might be, and you're doing handheld, you might be moving backwards or forwards in your shutter speeds too low because something's blowing in the wind or something, your plant or bee or whatever. So just keep that in mind. Also, a lot of people use macro lenses for portrait photography. They're like, oh, doing a wedding, but I need to get I've heard you could use a macro lens for portrait photography, and I need to get some pictures of some rings. Well, 99% of what you're shooting is portrait photography. Why would you get a macro lens just for that 1% that you're using it? I would recommend, if you're doing that kind of stuff, just get like the 85mm f1.8. It's only $350. It goes all the way down to f1.8. The bokeh will be nicer at that. So just get some extension tubes. You get those cheap, and those few macro shots that you actually need, well, you can just use those extension tubes for that. So this lens is, let's see, it is just under 800 used and around 1,000 new. So most of those other macro lenses, like I said, they're pretty much around the same sharpness of this. You get those for around anywhere from $250 on up to $350, somewhere in there. So if you're looking for something on a budget, you can get those. But the main reason you'd be paying for this is that extra stuff, that image stabilization and the quick focus on that. So just something to think about. This lens, as far as L series, this is kind of made of plastic, so a little bit different than something like this. This So like this is the F or 200 millimeter f2.80, so it's like a lot better construction than this, but that's kind of got metal parts on it, and this is kind of plastic parts. So this is a little bit, this is lighter, and if you think about it, I've heard people say this before, and it's logically it sounds good. So if you drop, say, like a metal lens, it's solid, so it actually stands more of a chance of breaking than a plastic lens, because a plastic lens will have a slight bit of flex to it. So I'm not going to break it, or I'm not going to drop a bunch of lenses to test that out, but it sounds logical to me. So anyway, so yeah, this is a plastic, kind of a plasticky type body, but I kind of like it because it makes it lighter, and I do a lot of hiking and stuff, and it fits in my bag and doesn't weigh me down as much as some of the other lenses that I use. So I recommend this lens. It's hard not to recommend a L series lens. They're all good, but if you're on a budget, those other lenses, you will be happy with them. If you're looking to do macro photography, get any macro lens. They're all sharp. This one just has a few extra features that make it a little bit nicer. Is it worth the extra $500 for it? I don't know. It's up to you. It's kind of a decision you'll have to make. But I was willing to spend the extra money just to try it out. I've always wanted it, and I got it now. And the other lenses were sharp, but this is sharp too. So those extra features are super nice to me, and I really enjoy this lens, and I'm going to keep it. So I say that, and it seems like I sell lenses every week. But yeah, so subscribe, because I've got plenty of lens reviews on here, because I'm constantly buying and selling lenses. Alright, so there's, let's say there's some, I'm going to put a Flickr link in the description below, Flickr group for this lens. If anytime you're researching for a lens, I recommend Flickr. You can just go there and search their groups, and there's any modern day lens, you'll find a group for it, and they'll have plenty of photos of maybe not what I'm doing, but something maybe you have a little different style, so it's a little different photography style or editing style, so you'll be able to see something similar, maybe architect or whatever, for whatever particular lens you're looking at, so you could kind of judge, and you get a better look at the images, because you'll look at it at a larger image size than a 1920 by 1080, so it'll really be better than watching it in this video. But I'm going to put some image samples here at the end, and you'll get to see exactly, their JPEG straight out of camera, what you'll get with a crop censored camera. This is the Canon 80D. Go ahead and subscribe and check out my other videos. I've got plenty of other Canon stuff, Pentax, just a lot of photography stuff. I think I've already got about 200 videos. It's getting a little bit out of control here, and I'm right at 1 million views, so woohoo! A lot of people have 1 million views for one video, but I have a lot of fun doing these, so give me a thumbs up if you like these reviews and stuff, and I'll keep doing them. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.